Hello again everyone, Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about no fixed signs in the natal chart. And when I say this, of course most of you know the fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And what I mean on this, to elaborate a little, is that no planets in fixed signs in the MC or Midheaven and Ascendant in non-fixed signs. And somebody has a natal chart with no major influences in fixed signs, then the person, as the name for these these signs go, is that the fixity of purpose, the purposefulness, the tenacity, the persistence may not be there often. It could be that this person may incline toward a little bit more vacillation and wavering. It may be difficult for this person that has a natal chart with no fixed signs in it to find, I guess you could say, the stick-to-itiveness with a particular long-enduring or sustained project. Ideally, maybe this person would do better on more short-term projects, things that can be consummated or completed a little bit easier. Now, this could be somebody that may be very quick to acquiesce, to agree more, and often may show having, especially if the person has a lot of mutable planets, or mutable influences, planets, and possibly the Ascendant and or MC mixed in there. And sometimes this person may have difficulty being able to maybe put their foot down in certain situations, maybe too quick to say, oh, okay, that's all right, and not really inject their point of view maybe into something which might contrast to someone else's, maybe perhaps in fear of maybe making waves or causing perhaps a problem or confrontation or something, or an argument where this is something where people that can have certain compensations in their horoscope for this, if somebody has a number of conjunctions in their chart, or say like if they have a bundle or bowl pattern in the natal chart as another example, this could show a little more concentration of power and stick-to-itiveness, a little bit more tenacity and persistence, and having more of the persevering qualities which would equate to actually maybe having, or not really equate, but would be kind of similar to maybe having even one or two influences in fixed signs, though that doesn't change the fact that this person doesn't have any fixed signs in as far as major influences go. But it could indicate where this person may be able to stay on course a little bit easier, because in a bundle or bowl pattern in a natal chart, for example, you have that concentration of energy and therefore more of perhaps a stick-to-itiveness kind of thing. The thing that I look at when somebody doesn't have any fixed signs as far as in any major influences and fixed signs in their natal chart, they could be, depending on what the emphasis is, the mutable signs, obviously the mutability, the adaptability, and if there's an emphasis of cardinal, it indicates a lot of action and activity, but not necessarily finishing things. That's more about enterprise and initiating projects, but not necessarily finishing them. And there might be more changeability, and this person can be maybe sporadic in terms of their energy. Somebody with no fixed signs in their chart might want to do one thing 1 minute and then do something the next, or it can indicate instability in terms of staying with the task at hand. It could also indicate, especially with a strong dominance of mutable signs in the chart, it can sometimes show lack of reliability, the punctuality, the steadfastness may be lacking to some degree, the dependability. Fixed signs are often about punctuality and being reliable, dependable, being right there when they're needed, and somebody that has no fixed signs as far as major influences go can be somebody that may strongly lack these tendencies. Now, at the same time, almost everybody's going to have at least like 3 fixed signs on house cusps in their natal chart, and this there's obviously everybody's going to have some fixity and purpose to some degree. The signs are still going to be there, but if they're not in major influences, then it still could show that lack of that ability to stay with something and the tenacity. There may, if somebody say they have Taurus on the 3rd house cusp, this could still show certain persistence and maybe things connected with their communications, their neighbors, siblings. There could be a very loyal and steadfast attitude toward these things, and this person may not always be willing to back down from their opinions. So that could be, so Taurus on the 3rd is one example. Somebody, let's say, has Scorpio, say they have Scorpio on the 9th house cusp. This could be somebody that puts a lot of emotional fixed intensity into their philosophical nature, perhaps into higher education, and may be very purposeful in these matters. And so almost everybody's going to have a fixed sign on a house cusp, at least one at the very minimum. Well, there would actually be at least 2, because if you have one on one house cusp, you're obviously going to have the opposite fixed sign on the other. A third house cusp Taurus will obviously have Scorpio on the 9th house cusp, for example. So there's always going to be something in there, even if somebody they didn't have any fixed signs, say, on a house cusp, but they had them intercepted, which would be rare, because then you'd have 2 interceptions, and both interceptions would have the fixed sign, all 4 fixed signs. The energy would still be there, but it would be a lot harder to really access, because it would be intercepted, but the energy would still be there. But at the same token, if someone has no major influences in the fixed signs, which is the planets MC and Ascendant, there still could be strong difficulty in following up on things, whether it could be attainments, their goals, their aspirations, some kind of work, I guess you could say project or assignment. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for natal charts with no fixed signs in them and major influences. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about natal charts with no cardinal signs as far as the major influences go. 2 things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.